from the Echo Network studios in downtown Royal Oak, this is Odd Musings, and with your, usually I'm the second one introduced, Scott Zambelli here. I am the creator of Emmanuel God With Us, as well as a mega super agent for...
Okay, I'm not hearing anything, so if you guys can hear me.
Oakland and Wayne County areas. And I am joined here via Skype and Facebook live stream, my better half of the show, Brett Pinson. Oh, Brett doesn't hear anything, so just talk. Say hi.
Okay, if you can hear me, Scott, wave and say hey.
We have Skype still connected? Okay,
Dominic,
so
turn me
for
on.
some reason, Brett's not hearing.
I bet it's that mic he turned off.
Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna try sign language in the meantime. I'm gonna send smoke signals to Brett. So
I'm
that you
here,
can
so
hear.
I just can't hear
Let
anybody.
me try this. We're gonna go old school here. Turn on other mic. Hold on here.
I can text him.
And it's backwards.
It is on.
Oh,
My phone's not. I'm not hearing you on my phone.
he's on his phone. Well, let's move forward. We'll try to figure out what's going on. Brett, call back. Hang up and call back. I think
All right,
he's
I'm
trying
calling back. So Facebook Live can hear me. I'm calling back.
All right, so welcome to Odd Musings. This is our first attempt at this, as you can probably tell. And Brett's on the phone right now. I think he's calling back the Skype line. And let's see if this works. Hey, there you are.
All right, let me put my headset back on, see if I can hear you that way too.
All right, awesome. So as I was saying, we have a fun show today. We have a lot of snow moving into the area. So Brett was snowed in down in his headquarters in Belleville, Michigan. And so he's calling in. And it's creating a lot of suspense as to whether or not this will work. I hear you, Brett.
Okay, good. It must have been something on. We'll blame Dominic for this one.
Okay. Yeah. Dominic's good with that. He's used to it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Let's see.
It was the snow wasn't my biggest concern. It was all the black ice and everything else. And when I was watching the news this morning, it was all the accidents, and pulled up my Google Maps, and it said an hour and a half to get there, which happens occasionally when there's accidents. And I'm looking and going, okay, if it's an hour and a half in bad weather, it's going to take me 2.5 hours. I'd probably still be driving right now.
Oh, yeah. For myself, it took me an hour and 40 minutes to get here. Usually it's a 45-minute drive. So, and your drive is longer than mine. So you probably would have been a minimum of 2 hours. So,
yeah,
and you're safe. You're safe, and through the wonders of modern technology, we're still together on the show. So that's what matters. So.
Yeah, this is fun. And we wanted to experiment with this anyway, so this will work out pretty good.
Yeah, so we didn't properly finish our introductions. As I said my name, but it's my awesome co-host, Brett Pinson.
That's
who are
me,
you?
guys. I am Brett Pinson of BrettPinson.com.
And creator of?
Boomtown Scabs, The Adventures of Carl, as well as The Expendables. The original Expendables, not that garbage that Stallone put out.
But it's good garbage, though.
No, it is. I enjoy his movies. He just stole my title.
Me too. So, yeah, so we have some fun stuff. We had the Han Solo trailer came out this weekend. So we're going to talk about that, and we're going to get into some other breaking Star Wars news that occurred last night, going into this morning. And we're going to try to break that down a little bit. We're also going to cover a little bit on Netflix. Brett and I both watched the Cloverfield Paradox that just came out.
Yeah,
so,
that was fun.
Well, yeah, I enjoyed that. So we're going to get into that and some other things. But first, we're going to talk a little bit about our past weekend. Brett and I got to go to Hotlanta for Days of the Dead.
Well, it wasn't that hot, but it was hot. It's hotter than here, that's for sure.
Yeah. It's always fun when you go to those southern states and you got 40-degree weather, and we're like, this isn't bad. And everyone around there is like, it's freezing. So that was.
And we did have some wind whipping through the buildings though downtown where we're at, so it did get a little nippy.
It was a little cold when the wind was gone, but that next day, Saturday, wasn't bad when the wind died down. So, Days of the Dead, that was a 3-day show. It's a horror show, and there were some cool celebrities there. Not necessarily ones I would associate with horror. We had the Karate Kid, along with Johnny and the coach there. I always forget their names, though.
Or did we have the Karate Kid and that punk Daniel LaRusso who only causes problems?
That's right, because we do have the theory out there that that Daniel was actually the bad guy. Which, when you watch that documentary, it does make you feel that way.
Yes.
So, and the coach there of the bad guys, the Cobra Kai, he came down our aisle one of the days, and he didn't stop by my table, but he did stop a couple tables down. He was buying some things, and he was actually buying some onesies, some horror baby onesies. So he must have a grandchild, I assume, in the family that he was buying for. I'm not sure, but who else was there? We had a lot of Malcolm McDowell was there.
Yep, he was the big name for the weekend. Ernie Hudson from Ghostbusters.
Yep.
And then they had
he was in
he's in the
Hand That
horror
Rocks the Cradle.
The Crow.
And what else? Oh, that's right. I always forget about The Crow with him.
Yeah, he's been in a ton of movies, so he's probably got a couple other horror movies popped in there too.
And I will say, of all the people who were there, my biggest thrill was seeing Mean Gene Okerlund from WWF days.
I got a chance to talk to him for a few minutes. He was really cool.
Yeah, his voice still sounds the same.
It does. He's going to be, I don't know how old he is, but it sounded exactly the same. He should be calling wrestling still.
Oh yeah, Mean Gene was great. He was kind of the straight man to the comedy that was the wrestling characters. You know, they were cartoonish figures, and Mean Gene was kind of like the voice of the fan there, asking the sometimes very silly questions that I just always loved growing up.
Yeah, that was fun. Yeah, it was a great time hanging out with Scott. We had Kevin Miner with us, who we did the Creatures and Creators Kickstarter that's coming out next month.
Yep, who had an awesome shirt that he was wearing of his book title there that he supposedly had some made for us, but conveniently forgot.
Yes, he's gonna have to get him.
No, he did forget. But
yeah.
It was fun. We had some great food, some great restaurants that we ate at. What was the one? There was that grill. You
it was the Atlanta Braves Grill was the first one we ate at.
Yep, yeah, and that was a total Atlanta Braves themed restaurant, complete with jerseys and baseballs and pitching cages.
Yep. It was good. We had a good time there. It was after we flew in. That's where we went and had lunch before the show started. So it was a nice grab bite to eat then.
And for breakfast, we ate at Dominic's favorite. We ate at Ye Old Waffle House.
Yes.
So we ate there for breakfast.
Edition.
The downtown edition. Yep.
Yeah.
And then what was the place we ate at for dinner that was really good there? Where I couldn't eat the pork sliders because they were too hot.
Yeah. You know what? I forget the name of it off the top of my head, but it was really good. Max Luger's sounds right. Yeah.
Max Luger's Wood Fire Pizza and Brewery or something like that.
Yeah, and we didn't get pizza.
Yeah, but we didn't get pizza. I should have got pizza, but I was trying to watch my figure.
Yeah, well. I had the fish and chips. They were awesome, so.
They looked really good. It made me wish I got them fish and chips, actually, when I saw them come out. They looked perfectly cooked. So.
Oh, they were one of the best I've ever had, so.
So what stuck out to you during the Atlanta trip? Any fond memories there, Brett?
You know, it was just a good time hanging out with a couple pals, and we had a couple good meals. Our flights were all good, which was great. Everything we get through security easily. I think Kevin, well, you got searched too, didn't you, in Detroit? I didn't.
Yeah, on the way down, I usually get stopped because when I'm traveling, I've got my suitcase that's filled with prints. And not Prince, the singer, but Prince with the T. And when they go through the X-ray, they just see this solid block of something, and it's like, hey, what's this? So going down, that got searched, but coming back, I was surprised nobody cared about it coming back. So. Well,
it was Super Bowl Sunday. They just wanted to get us all through the security so we could go watch the game. So.
Yeah, that was definitely a different experience. We got to watch the game in the airport. Yep. And the fourth quarter was in the airplane itself through the airplane's Wi-Fi that they provided free.
That was nice. That was a nice treat to catch the last part of it there as we taxied. Didn't have to turn the phones off for that. As long as we were on their Wi-Fi and on airplane mode, it worked. So. Yeah,
and it was funny because everybody's phones were on different timings. Like the lag on everybody's phones was different in the plane, so you had people trying not to cheer to ruin it they didn't want to spoil it for the other people.
Yeah.
Like the guy in front of me once once you guys saw a touchdown happen, and he's like, "Yeah, I was trying not to cheer because I didn't want to ruin it for them." But yeah, so we got to watch the game and at 10,000 feet, so that was cool. My Patriots didn't win, but that's okay. Tom still he made it fun and exciting all the way to the end.
Yeah, the game wasn't given away. I mean, really, it was the one turnover the Patriots had at the end there that really lost the game for them. But realistically, they all played hard on both sides, and it was a great game the whole way.
Yeah, as far as my non-sports analysis, since I'm not a sports expert, but yeah, it came down to two distinct plays in my mind. You had when the throughout the whole game, both defenses kind of weren't there, but
Yeah.
Philadelphia, they stepped up twice. They stripped the ball from him in the one play, which I think was the only time they actually reached Brady, but they made it count. And then the other one was they stopped them when they were deep towards their end zone. There, they had the 4 tries to get out, and Philly stopped them and got the ball back, which then they scored on. I believe that was the play that Foles actually ended up having the ball passed to him, so that he scored going into the end zone, I believe.
Yeah.
So
He played a heck of a game, and I know the Brady haters were all talking about it was a backup quarterback to beat Brady, but people forget Brady was actually a backup of a backup when he won this first Super Bowl.
yeah, that's true. And as far as the Philadelphia team goes, the team itself I really like. The guys really are stand up. They have strong Christian values. They speak openly about it, and I really love the team. It's just the fans I hate. I hate to see those Philly fans get a
The problem is
championship.
it's a few Philly fans or Philadelphia fans that are really bad because I've got some friends that are Eagles fans that.
Well, to be fair, there was more than a few in those streets burning their own city down.
Yeah. Well, that's what always gets me about any player. We've had that at Michigan State.
I was pissed he has a Super Bowl.
I agree. I don't know. Is your mic on? There you are. I just heard you.
Okay.
Yeah, Dominic chimed in.
Yeah.
The other part I don't like is Jim Schwartz has a Super Bowl now. And for those who may be outside of the area, Jim Schwartz used to be the Detroit Lions head coach. He's offensive coordinator, I believe, for Philly. Is that right, Dom?
Yeah, defense.
He's defensive?
Defense,
Okay.
yeah.
So,
So
Jim
he's always
Schwartz,
better as a coordinator. He's not a head coach.
yeah, well, but he does have a Super Bowl ring now, which
I just hate his face.
Dominic just hates his face. Well, to me it was after he left Detroit and they beat Detroit and he got carried off the field.
He requested to be carried off.
Yeah, he requested. Yeah, it was pre-planned.
Yeah.
And that just, I'm like, come on, guys, really?
It's junior high.
That was so low class.
Yeah. Good job, bud.
Yeah. Good job, bud. Yeah, so there you have it. But congrats to Philly, and I do know a few Philly fans who are great people, but I'm sorry, most of you guys suck though. I'm just gonna say that.
Okay, well, I guess we'll do that.
Did you have a favorite ad?
Say that again?
Did you have a favorite advertisement during the Super Bowl?
Yeah, it's got to be the Eli Manning Dirty Dancing one.
The Dirty Dancing? Okay. I really liked I didn't pay attention to much, but I really liked the Danny DeVito Eminem commercial.
I like that too. I saw that one though the week before because they were airing it on a couple times on different things.
Yeah, I enjoyed that one, and the other one I enjoyed was the Vikings taking the car to the Super Bowl and then finding out the Vikings didn't make it, so then they turned around.
Yeah, that was a good one too. I like that one a lot.
Yeah, it was hard to pay attention to the ad since we were in the airport, and so
we didn't have the sound.
Right. Yeah, so a lot of the stuff we were just watching and not hearing. But and then we also had, which we'll talk about later, the Han Solo teaser trailer came out during the Super Bowl. So we'll talk about that towards the end of the show more. And so overall, Super Bowl seemed to be a success. And we had Justin Timberlake dressed as Negan in his Super Bowl performance. People were posting memes showing Negan side by side. They both had the red scarf and the leather jacket. So he might have been trying to audition for Walking Dead. I don't know.
What was he wearing?
I don't know.
That was crazy.
I saw something where they posted that he went to like his local Goodwill and now he dresses like everybody. So.
Mm. Brett, are you able to see comments on your screen for our feed?
I can see some. I haven't seen anybody
Okay,
comment yet,
cool.
other than I commented. So I see we got a
All
few
right.
people that
Yeah,
joined us.
so
If they're still here. We got Tina, Brenda, Jason,
awesome.
Rhonda, Gina, another Gina, Jim, and of course Connie, the Comic Con mom's watching out in the living room.
Yep.
So
And so if anyone wants to chime in with their favorite commercials are, feel free. But otherwise, let's move on.
yeah.
Let's talk about our awesome sponsor, International Minute Press.
Yeah. They are located at 1058 South Main Street in Plymouth, Michigan. International Minute Press prints, promotes, and designs you. They are artist-owned and operated. Joe and his team, and you guys remember Joe, he's been on the show a couple times. They understand what it takes for emerging and established artists to get noticed. From ash cans and rack cards to posters, banners, and Comic-Con booth materials, IMP of Plymouth has the tools to help you stand out. Contact them today for a competitive pricing quote. Mention Odd Musings to receive 20% off your next order. You see, they started this after I picked up my order last week, so I didn't get 20% off, but you guys can. So pretty good. Look, I can point and people can see my finger. But,
I believe
again,
they give you the special 20% extra for you, Brett.
They probably do. But again, they are located at 1058 South Main Street in Plymouth, Michigan. Give them a call, 734-414-6203. Visit them online at myprinter.intlminutepress.com. We have a link on the Odd Musing site under our sponsors little button there. Just click, drop, go. And you can also follow them on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. International Minute Press, one of our proud sponsors of Odd Musings.
Yeah, thank you, Joe and the team at International Minute Press. You guys do great work. Love your quality, and they do more than just prints. They do the banner back here that we have for Odd Musings. They do our prints as well, but they also do a lot of business. If you need forums, regular copies, they do that. Brochures, business cards. They're about to start screen printing, or not screen printing, but what's it called? They're doing the printing of the shirts soon.
Yeah, digital printing.
So
Yeah.
There's a lot of There's a lot of cool features that they have coming up that we're going to be excited to announce over the coming weeks. So check them out.
Awesome. International Minute Press, love them.
With the Super Bowl, we had the Han Solo trailer, but also there was a release on Netflix of the Cloverfield Paradox, an movie that's tied into the whole Cloverfield universe that they're creating. And both Brett and I got to watch that over the weekend. So what were your thoughts on that?
I really liked it. I know the Cloverfield movies as a whole, the first one, and then the 10 Cloverfield Lane, have all had a little fight back. I think it is because it's such a different take on several genres. I mean, you got the monster genre, and so the monster movies, you've got a lot of sci-fi aspects. With this one, as I comment, go ahead.
Just to interrupt real quick, let's give the spoiler alert just in case if you haven't seen it. We're not going to get heavy into spoilers, but some of the things we talk about might be spoiler material. So I'll just give that little warning out first. So I'm sorry, Brett, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this one, and I don't feel it's too much of a spoiler. I mean, it's set in a space station outside of Earth, and they're doing a lot of tests, and there's a lot, and basically the Earth at this point is almost a war zone. It's all super tensions, everything's ready to explode. And it's
there's an
all
energy
four corners.
crisis. There's an energy crisis, so the powers of the Earth are like on the brink of war because they want to take each other's energy reserves. And the whole Cloverfield thing is an experiment where they believe they're going to be able to create unlimited energy through the use of a God particle in a super collider. And the God particle is an actual theory of particles that exist in space. So,
right. And I really enjoyed it. It was had an alien feel to it. The first Alien. It had a little Armageddon thrown in, and then you start throwing in a lot of different characters. I don't want to get too deep because I don't want to give away too much. We're giving a little spoilers, not too much, because there's so many cool things that happen, in my opinion. And it's one of those movies that I think that you're either going to like or not like. I don't think there's any medium ground, but it does.
But if you like sci-fi,
Cloverfields.
It does, and if you like sci-fi, I really think they hit the right notes on this. They also do it. I think the production quality was really good. Being a Netflix, there was a lot of special effects in this, but I think they did it in a way that made it affordable but still looked good.
Yep. I pulled up the Wikipedia page, and it was Paramount Pictures is one that originally did it. I guess it's been in development since 2012, and then Netflix bought it from them. Which is kind
Yeah,
of interesting that it didn't try to go to the theater, and then 10 Cloverfield Lane came out about 2 years ago, I think it was, with John Goodman, which was really good.
yeah. The original title for this movie, the working title, was The God Particle, which then later became Cloverfield Paradox. One of the cool things about this is it's the exploration of, how do I put this? I don't want to be too spoilery, but there's groups who are protesting the creation of this unlimited energy because they believe the power of this experiment is going to be so great they're actually going to rip through multiple dimensions, and it explores what happens when this occurs and how this unfolds. Introduces how this giant Cloverfield monster comes about in the original Cloverfield movie.
Yes, and it is interesting though. You do end up seeing a monster in this, but it's not the same one we saw in the first movie. That plays in everything that they deal with throughout this whole film, I believe, is that there's more than one monster involved here.
Correct. And the 10th Cloverfield Lane takes. Now, my understanding, and this is, I'm not like this Cloverfield junkie, so I may have things wrong, but based on the articles I was reading, the ending of Cloverfield Paradox ties into the very beginning of the original Cloverfield. So where this one leads off, takes you into the next one.
Yes.
Which also is why, according to the article I read, now I agree with Brett, it looks like a completely different monster, but according to the article I read, it's supposed to be the same monster, but it does not look the same to me. So I don't know. But I think that ties into another theory of multiple dimensions, and is this even the same Earth that they're back to? So who knows? Because if you pay attention to the time, there is a 20-year time difference between the date on the recording in the original Cloverfield movie and the date that the end of Cloverfield Paradox occurs. So there's this time gap of 20 years, but the ending scene ties into the beginning scene of the other one, even though it's 20 years before. So that's where there might be some weird time thing going on.
Yeah.
So who knows?
Well, I mean, if you haven't seen the second one, have you? Have you seen the
No, I haven't. No, and this is what annoys me. Now everyone's telling me it's on Amazon, but I don't have Amazon. But you would think since Netflix is coming out with Cloverfield Paradox, they would have had Cloverfield and Cloverfield Field or Cloverfield Lane available, so you could watch those too.
They should. I liked that thing Cloverfield Lane. It was good.
Yeah, because as soon as I finished Paradox, I wanted to watch both of them again. Well, the Cloverfield again and 10 Cloverfield Lane for the first time, because I was now intrigued. Like, oh, I got to see what happens and how this ties together, and I can't. So I'll find it.
The first one, as we know, was that it was a found footage type film, and here's this giant monster terrorizing the city, and this party happens. They're all trying to escape. The second one, I mean, it all takes place in an underground bunker, and it's John Goodman basically keeps this girl there, and this other guy, and he's trying to basically protect them because he knows what's going on, but doesn't really reveal it either.
And there's another interesting thing. 10 Cloverfield Lane, what they were saying in the article is if you went to the website before, John Goodman's character, like they had a bio about him and all this. Now, if you go to that same bio on the website, the company that was doing the experiments, they wiped out his bio, and there's like a message on there, so it's being blocked now. So it's kind of like they're creating this conspiracy theory where the company doesn't want you to know about John Goodman's character anymore. Because I guess John Goodman's character, that's how he knew about it, is he worked for the company, and I don't know. It's too much for me to know on my level of fandom. But it sounds like they're doing more than just the tie-in with the movie. They're doing even social media and internet stuff to kind of help grow this conspiracy theory.
Right.
So that was pretty cool. But I definitely recommend it. I don't know. I'd give it 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I mean, even if you don't like the Cloverfield movies, this one was its own entity, and it was a great job. I think they handled it well. I liked the story. It had a lot of suspense going on and things they were dealing with. So it's you get a lot going on. You don't have to have seen the previous movies to understand it. I like that aspect too, where the sequels have not been where you had to have seen the previous movies.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it definitely could stand alone. You don't have to see the other movies, especially since it's a kind of a prequel in a way. But it
Yeah.
definitely fills in information for all the questions created by the other two movies. So if you have seen the other two movies, this answers a lot, I think.
Yeah, I need to watch kind of do like a marathon one day and watch all three in order.
Yeah, definitely. All right.
Yeah.
Another series that's out there. Anything else on Cloverfield before I move on?
No, just go watch it, people. If you got Netflix, watch it. It's worth it.
All right. So we both give it 2 thumbs up. Oh, that was 3 then. I did 1 and you
Yeah.
did 2. Another series, The Travelers. We
Yes.
both finished that up. We mentioned it briefly last week, but I hadn't finished it yet. So I was able to finish up that. This was season 2?
Season 2, yes.
Yeah. Another show, I always enjoy the time traveling shows, which this gets into a lot. I think the premise is really cool, but I thought season 2 did a great job of taking this world that they've created and they're expanding it quite a bit in this season.
Yes, and a lot of changes from the first season too. A little bit of storytelling, but also from what was kind of almost perceived what was happening. So the mission keeps changing here.
Yeah, yeah, and it's changing because these little ripples in time they're creating are causing changes in the future
Mhm.
that they're constantly trying to battle these changes to put humanity back on the right track. So the basic premise is these people time travel. The future is very dark for humanity. Some event happens that will kind of wipe us all out, and they're time traveling back into these bodies of people, basically people who are historically die at a specific moment.
Yeah.
Since they know exactly when that person dies, they're able to transfer their consciousness from the future into that body, and then they'll change that person's event so that they don't die anymore, and then they take over that person's life. So it's a fun show, fun concept, and I think they do a really good job of it.
Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. I can't wait for number 3. And this is one of those series on Netflix that I like. Its fact that it is a Netflix original for us, but it's a Canadian produced show. So it came from Canada, just like we've talked about a couple other ones like Glitch. It's an Australian show, and that one's being ported over to Netflix. I like that they're doing that more and more.
Yeah, the hard part is there's so many good things on there. I'm having trouble keeping up. I still got to finish off Glitch. I haven't finished Glitch yet.
Yeah, and then
Glitch
I haven't
going-
started Carbon. Was it Carbon Copy or no Carbon Copy?
Altered Carbon.
Altered
That's
Carbon,
another
yes.
one that one just came out, I believe, a week and a half ago, if I remember right. And
Yes.
I just finished the second episode, and I'm enjoying it. I won't give any spoilers. Brett hasn't watched it yet. My basic review of it so far is, not everyone, people who know me know I'm not a Blade Runner fan. So my review of the Altered Carbon is, this is what Blade Runner would be if it was good. It's kind of got that dark, futuristic feel. It takes place about 250 years into the future. And the basic premise is they have these implants called stacks.
Yeah.
And they put them into the base of your skull. And basically your entire consciousness and memories and everything that makes you who you are gets electronically stored into these stacks. So as long as your stack isn't damaged or vaporized, if you die, they can remove the stack, and then they have these other bodies they grow that they call sleeves, and they insert you into a new sleeve. And then you continue your life on from there. So there's people living multiple lives, and the basic premise is there's this one guy who's this super wealthy guy who's lived for a long time. He was murdered, and he took this one guy who was like the ultimate terrorist bad guy from the past, revived him to investigate his own murder.
Mm-hmm.
And because he's this super wealthy guy, he has this way of he actually clones himself, and every 48 hours he uploads his consciousness into this other clone. So if he did get murdered, he'd actually be alive again. So it's this interesting way of doing it. But the world that they're creating is pretty interesting. I'll definitely give a warning. It's definitely for a mature audience. There's some very risque scenes, language, and stuff like that. So, I definitely wouldn't recommend it for under 17.
I heard there's a lot of some dingleberries.
There is definitely, at least in one of the first two episodes, a well-endowed actor who is seems to be have no shame in displaying himself. Very Game of Thrones.
Okay. Okay.
So,
Well,
yeah,
I guess if it works for the storytelling, so.
yeah. So if you don't mind that, it's definitely so far. I like the world they're creating, and I look forward to seeing where this goes, the storyline. So.
Cool. I'm gonna watch it soon, so I can try to catch a couple episodes and see what's going on there. There's a lot of TV coming out, and then it's kind of cool. We've had some good stuff here popping up recently on the streaming channels, so always watching for that stuff. And I know Netflix has got a lot of series they're launching over the next couple months. So.
Yeah. All right. So let's move on to our next awesome sponsor, Loringer Family Chiropractic. What can you tell us about them, Brett?
Well, I was just there yesterday, and I didn't just do my normal adjustment. I also got a massage with Terry because I definitely needed a massage to help relax me, and I did that before I got my adjustment. Now, one of the cool things is you can get a massage and adjustment the same day and during the same appointment time. And some people like to get adjusted first, then massage. I like to reverse because then I'm already relaxed when I get adjusted. Things move better. Definitely noticed a few more pops that don't normally happen during my adjustment on that. So Dr. Anna took great care of me, and so did Terry. And Terry and I, of course, talked the whole hour while she's doing a massage about our upcoming Disney trip, taking Shelby, if they're watching. Hey, Shelby and Terry. And they're going to go to Disney for spring break and have a great time down there. And I was talking about all the fun stuff I'd like to be doing down there at Disney because I want to go. But at Loringer Family Chiropractic Center, PC, they take great pride in providing the finest chiropractic care to each and every patient. They offer on-site digital x-rays, the massage therapy I was just talking about, orthotics by foot levelers, Young Living essential oils, aromatherapy, a full line of vitamins, all in a family-oriented environment. Give them a call, 734-697-4244, or visit them at LoringerFamilyChiropractic.com, which we do have a link under the sponsors tab on oddmusings.com, where you can also go for all of our cool stuff, too. So definitely check them out. They're located in Belleville, Michigan, and Dexter, Michigan. And if you can't make it out there, give them a call. Say, hey, you have somebody you can recommend me to, and they'll try to help you find somebody.
Awesome.
Yes.
Thank you, Loringers. We appreciate your support, and we appreciate the work you do for Brett and as well as for my daughter, Ashley. This time of year, it's hard to get out there, being the distance, but we definitely miss going there, and Ashley's hoping to get down there again soon to see everybody and get some more work done.
Yes, definitely.
So. Awesome. This is where we need the Bill Murray drop singing Star Wars, nothing but Star Wars.
Here, I got you. Hold on a minute. Star Wars, nothing but Star Wars.
Yes, that sounds just like it. Good job, Brett. You're much braver than I am. So, with the Super Bowl, we ended up getting the teaser trailer, which was about a minute long. And the following morning on Good Morning America, it was a 2-minute full trailer. And we got to see a lot in there. And we also had some breaking news overnight. We have Star Wars announcing they're bringing on the two guys who do Game of Thrones to do another trilogy.
Yeah,
what are their names again, Brett?
David Benioff and D.B. Weiss, which you might pronounce Weiss because it's spelled W-E-I-S-S and it's probably German. And they're supposed to have their own trilogy of films that'll be separate from the episodic ones and separate from the Rian Johnson trilogy that was announced last year.
Correct. Yep, and everybody's guess is now they didn't really release any information as to what it would be, and I don't think even Star Wars knows. I think this is going to be their own thing, kind of how Rian Johnson's is his own thing, which I have mixed feelings about. I will admit. On one hand, I'll be excited to see what they do with it. On the other hand, it does make me concerned about where this cohesive universe is going when they keep having these projects where the directors are not given direction and they can do their own thing. So that's the only concern I have regarding that.
Yes.
But they definitely have proven themselves very good at taking a franchise and bringing it to life visually. So just like with Game of Thrones, that was an existing world, and they hit a home run with that. So
Yes.
the
Well, I
other
mean,
question is
the
be an
quote
adult.
from Kathleen Kennedy. Oh, sorry. The quote from Kathleen
No,
Kennedy
go
is
ahead.
that David and Dan are some of the best storytellers working today. Their command of complex characters, depth of story, and richness of mythology will break new ground and boldly push Star Wars in ways I find incredibly exciting. So with that statement, hopefully it leaves they have an idea of what they would like to do, and sounds like they may incorporate multiple characters, and hopefully not get too crazy on the Game of Thrones span of it. But it'd be cool to see a multi-character trilogy and how it all coincides.
Now, just to take a dump on that statement, though, she also said the same thing about similar things about the Han Solo director who was fired. So
It's one of those
it's
things
the
where you kind
standard
of hope it'd be
line.
different, but
Yeah, they say that about all studios say that about every director they bring on, and then they fire them a few months later for creative differences. So we'll see.
yes.
The proof will be in the pudding, and we'll see what they come up with. Um, I've said it before. As far as Kathleen Kennedy goes, I've lost faith in her. It seems every project she's allowed under her leadership is a completely hands-off approach, which I think is a huge mistake. I think she needs to approach Star Wars in the way Marvel has, in creating a story arc that will cover phases or a large, one phase, whatever. But Marvel planned out about a 25 movie story arc so that all the directors they hired would know, they would have a blueprint of what to follow. And she's doing the
Right.
exact opposite. And I don't understand how you make a cohesive universe if you don't have that, at least a blueprint to tell these directors what direction to go. So,
Right.
with that said, we have the Han Solo movie. And I will say, I feel much better after seeing the previews. That it has made me cautiously optimistic about the direction it's going, because those who pay attention to me, they know I was not happy with Last Jedi. I felt it was a great letdown. And for those of you who like it, that's your prerogative. There's nothing wrong there. You're allowed to like it. I just feel like they took a dump on everything ever had created. That's my opinion, and I'm allowed that, and you're allowed to like it. So I'm not going to get into that debate. But the
Yes.
Han Solo trailer does give me hope. Now, what's interesting is the weakest part of the entire trailer, though, was actually the Han Solo himself. I felt was the weakest. There were some scenes where I felt he captured the look and feel of Han Solo,
Yeah.
but there were certain scenes in there too where it didn't feel like Han Solo at all. So we'll see where it goes, But
Yeah.
other than that, let's break down what we did see and talk about that.
Well, I mean, I've got it up on so I can see it anyway, so I can really kind of
Yep.
not break it down, see my scene here. I think one of the first things that really
Okay.
stuck out to me was how
Which
clean.
one are you looking at?
I'm
Which
looking
one
at
are
the
you
full
looking
trailer.
at? The teaser or the full trailer? Okay.
Full trailer, yeah. The teaser I was trying to find. For some reason, it's hard to find now. All of a sudden, everything links right to the full trailer.
Okay.
I know the teaser's out there, and we can find it again somewhere. But what stuck out to me was though how clean the Millennium Falcon looks inside and out. So obviously it's a brand new ship.
All right. Yeah, let's focus on the Millennium Falcon for a second, since you started with that one. What we do know about the Falcon is that there's an era. Basically, it's in two eras. You have pre-Han and post-Han for ownership. And what we do know from existing canon is Han Solo is supposed to acquire the Falcon from Lando
Yes.
at some point. And we know that he has done a lot of modifications himself that seem to be illegal modifications to make it much more than just a cargo ship.
Mhm.
And those modifications would occur after he has ownership. So this version of the Falcon should be pre-modifications.
Right.
And evidently pre-Wookiee dung. With how dirty we know Han Solo does not like to clean based on how white the interior used to be. Now, to support the pre-Han Solo era too, in one of the shots, I believe it's in the full trailer, it might be in the teaser, you actually see Lando in the pilot seat, and the droid is in the co-pilot seat, and Han is sitting in the passenger seat. So I have a
Right.
feeling that's when I think at that moment, it's Lando's ship is my guess, but it's a guess.
I would think so, and it looks like they were kind of all brought together. In some ways, it reminds me almost a little of it could be like almost a Reservoir Dogish, or putting together a team of people, and you've got the Woody Harrelson character and everybody else. So and it must be like Lando has the ship. He's an established smuggler, where Han is kind of just a petty thief in some ways, and he left the academy and he's been doing other stuff.
Yep. Yeah, so we have that. And then the Falcon has a distinctly different look also. Yes. And I have my own theory on what it is. But for those who have seen it, the front of the ship, the iconic Millennium Falcon look is that there's these two mandibles that stick up. When you're looking at it from the top, you got the circle part, which is the cargo hold and all that. You got the cockpit. But then you have the two mandibles that stick up. In this design, when we see it flying through space and twisting and turning, and even in some of the art release, those mandibles, they appear to be closer together. And at the top of the ship, it extends out from the gunner station all the way to the tip, which we don't usually see. Now, Star Wars did a series of manuals, kind of like, what are they called? The Hansen manuals or something for repairing cars.
Yeah, they're the technical manuals is what they came out with.
Yeah, and they did a series based on the actual real life automotive manuals. Yeah. They did one for the Millennium Falcon. What?
They're Chilton manuals for the automotive.
That's it. Thank you. And they did one for the Millennium Falcon. Now there's an interesting page on the inside, which I never read those manuals, but there is a page that gives you a full breakdown of all the configurations that are available for the Carillion YT-1300 freighter, which is what the Millennium Falcon is. And one of those configurations is showing the mandibles extending out and having it more like one giant piece. So yes. There is that. But they also reveal in that manual that the mandibles were made to be almost like a tugboat type feature where they have large cargo containers and the mandibles fit around the container and then they can push it through space, which is also why the cockpit is offset, because you have the equipment there that they'd be pushing. Right. So I don't think those manuals were ever officially canon, but it looks like they're taken from the manual and incorporating those designs into this, is what it looks like.
Well, I know the manuals all came out prior to Disney buying them, so a lot of that stuff would be considered expanded universe and was subject to change.
Exactly. But it definitely looks like they pulled from that, which is cool. That gives me a little hope that they're going back to expanded universe information. But my theory is, I think the mandibles, I think what they did change from the manual is, I think those mandibles actually, when not in use, contract and move inward and connect into one piece, and which would also fit. Almost every Star Wars ship ever has a moving feature that transforms it into a different configuration, and that would be this version of the Falcon, in my opinion.
Yes. I agree with you on that. I think it is. So we talked about it over the weekend.
Well, and even on the poster art, this is how insane I got. On the poster art, there's a front view of it, so I even took it and expanded it and measured out the width, and it's the width of two mandibles. So it's not that they're in the fixed position and something is just covering them. They're actually pushed together. And so I did some freeze frames too on some other screens in it. I think I'm right. I think those mandibles actually shift into a closed position and then open up when they need to dock onto something. So we'll see that. The other feature that's different is the radar dish is laid down. And my prediction is when they're communicating, it will actually extend up and into the position we're used to and look around. And where my prediction is going to go is because of Han's modifications, he had to put things into locked positions because we know the Millennium Falcon has rockets and all these other things. Well, the mandibles wouldn't be able to close if they'd block the rockets. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
So that's my prediction. It could be completely wrong.
Yeah.
And if I'm wrong, I'm not
wondering about some of the stuff. You shared something the other day on our page. I did reshare it so people could take a look at it again. The drawings of the open and close of the Falcon and shows the radar just laying down as well as up when it's in use. So. So check it out. I know we had some great comments on people that chimed in with different things. So definitely chime in and comment what your thoughts are.
Yeah. So that's the Falcon. it's going to be exciting to see the origin story of the Falcon. At least for me, I think that ship is. I mean, it's more. I think it's even more iconic than TIE fighters and X-wing fighters. So
Well, I
it'll be
mean, we
fun to
got
see.
with the Solo movie. We got some of our favorite characters. We got Lando, we've got Han Solo, we've got Chewbacca, but the character of Millennium Falcon is a big deal, and that's the Falcon is synonymous with him, including into Force Awakens. The Falcon was lost, and then it comes back to him. So I mean, it's a character that's going to constantly want to return to Han Solo. It's his
Yeah.
ship.
Now, in addition to the Falcon, we have the other characters involved. We see Chewie, and he's instead of the iconic single bandolier that he wears in the scene, he actually has like a 1.5. He has a bandolier going one way, but then he has this other one that connects to it, so it's going over both shoulders. So we'll see. To figure Chewie actually changed clothes one time, because even in the prequels, he only had one bandolier. So
Yeah.
I personally I think it's cool that he has a different look. He's 200 years old, and you would think he'd have a different outfit at some point. So
Well, you'd think so, but he likes what he likes. So
yeah. And another thing I noticed from the trailers, between the teaser and the trailers, it looks like we're going to get some distinct time periods in Han's life. Like you see the speeder chase where they're going through the streets on a speeder with what looks like an older style stormtrooper chasing them. And if you look in the windshield, his iconic gold dice are hanging in the windshield of that. But you have Dany Targaryen, Emilia Clarke, who is with him in those. But if you pay attention to how she looks in that scene versus other scenes, her hair is shorter. She looks a little younger. So I'm wondering if they're going to do flashback scenes showing a younger Han when he was more reckless before going into the Imperial Academy versus the modern time where Emilia Clarke's character seems to be a wealthy individual or someone high up in the Imperial ranks. I'm not sure what, but she has a distinct different look in how she dresses and her hair and everything else.
yeah. I think it's really interesting to see. I'm really, I was a little apprehensive with all the director changes and things we were hearing last summer. Seeing the trailer, I'm a little more excited about it. Definitely going to go see it when it opens. And I'm kind of hoping it rebuilds my faith back in the Star Wars universe again.
I think it
they're
will.
some of my favorite
I'm feeling
movies.
good about it. A lot of the elements in the trailer, I was going back and reviewing because I was a big expanded universe fan. There are a lot of elements from the expanded universe origins of Han Solo that seem to be sprinkled throughout these trailers. So I think they went back to the source expanded universe material and took a lot of that in. So I hope that's true because it was a good origin story originally. So
Yeah.
let's see. Oh, the droid that's co-piloting with Lando.
Yep.
That droid, when you go back into the I believe it was Shadows of the Empire. The droid was called Lebo, and he was with what was his name? Was that Dash Rendar? I think it was, which had a Corellian freighter similar to the Millennium Falcon but different. He was the co-pilot in that ship. So I'm thinking they took the designs of that character and brought it into this movie, which would be that was a character a lot of people liked from that era. So I'm looking forward to seeing what this droid does.
Right. So it's gonna be interesting because we got. I pulled up the IMDb list, and they do list an L337 played by Phoebe Waller-Bridge. So that must be the robot, the droid. It's not robots.
L337. Okay.
We've got of course who Han is. Tandy Newton's playing Val. We got Chewbacca played by the new Chewbacca.
The Val character is she's a female black character, and some are wondering if now in the newer comics there's a issue where a character comes back and she says she's Han's ex-wife, and this Val character, I don't know the character in the comics, so I don't know if it's the same character or not, but her look wise, she has very similar hair and appearance to that character. So some are wondering if they're taking that storyline and kind of setting up this whole story of how could this person be Han's ex-wife and stuff like that. So that might be included.
Yeah.
What else?
Well, we'll get a couple of those. We've got Warwick Davis is making an appearance in it. Doesn't say what role, but he's going to be
Yeah,
in it.
he's mandatory. He's mandatory in all Star Wars films. Uh, now, the question is,
Real quick though, is this is a Ron Howard film, and I do
Yep.
see his brother Clint listed in the credits, so he put his brother Clint in somewhere. And I love Clint Howard. I got to meet him in Pittsburgh. He's an awesome guy, and but I
Awesome.
love him in different roles because he's a great character actor. He's like his dad was.
Right.
Their dad, Rance, who passed away last year, was an awesome character actor for like 65 years. So
Nice. Yeah, I am looking forward to seeing what Ron Howard does with this too. He's a big part of because the original directors were fired and supposedly making a mockery of Star Wars with what they were doing. So I really do have faith in Ron Howard's ability to tell the best story possible. The only question I have is the story itself going to be true to existing canon? Hopefully it is, and it doesn't ignore it. I think it's going to be, though.
well, and looking here, and of course, I'm sure the previous directors had a hand in some of the writing. The original screenplay was written by both Lawrence Kasdan and his son John Kasdan, and Lawrence was tied
that's
into
good.
the original trilogy. So
Oh, yeah,
I
he,
think
he was best known for Empire.
yeah, and I'm wondering if
That's good.
with the directors that were fired, they said they were basically ad-libbing things like that. I think that, and so maybe the reason being Ron is like, okay, they didn't really shoot the script, so Ron Howard came in and shot the script, and
Yeah,
now that's
well,
what
that
we're
makes
going
me
to
feel
get.
a lot better that Kasdan's part of this, so that's good. Another highlight it looks like we're going to see the famous Kessel Run. So
Yes.
that's going to be involved. And what else here? Oh, are we going to see Han's first shot? They do that famous Western scene. You see Han unlatching his blaster,
Yep.
and looks like a showdown they're going to have. And the bad guys lined up. One of the bad guys looks very similar to Boosh, which is the costume that Leia dresses up as, the bounty hunter. We don't know if it's Boosh himself or herself. We don't even know if it's a Ubanese, I think is how you pronounce it, is the
Yeah.
alien race. But there's a character in that shot that has a very similar appearance. So it may be Boosh in an older costume, and we might find out how that character came to be. Or it just might be that race of people. We don't know yet. But the
Right.
bad guy, who seems to be the main bad guy, has a really cool outfit. I'm curious to see who it is. He has a really cool mask. That he's
Yeah,
wearing.
yeah. I was just pulling up the trailer and checking that out. He's got like a staff. He's got a group, and yeah, I do see. It looks like the Bosch character, Boosh, however you want to pronounce it, over on the right side there, like what Leia wore in Return of the Jedi. So it's nice, even
Yeah.
if it's not the exact same outfit. It's a neat homage to that. So
Exactly. I agree on that. So yeah, overall, I will say I'm happy. I still say Anthony Ingruber would have been the best choice for Han, but I will say based on what limited amount we have seen, I think I don't even know how to say his name, Aldrich or whatever, the actor
Right.
playing Han. I think he's going to be good enough, and I think the rest of the story will be strong enough that I think I'm going to enjoy it. So we'll have to wait and see.
yeah,
It
I
comes
think
out
so,
Memorial
too.
Day, right?
Yeah, probably the Wednesday before Memorial Day. So it's going to be that week before. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. And it's Alden. It's German, so it's probably like Ehrenreich. You gotta say it hard. Ehrenreich. You look angry.
I don't do German, so I barely do English. So
Yeah.
I'm not going to. I mess up the English language enough. I'm not going to mess up the German language. But yeah, so there's my thoughts on that. Yours, Brett. You look at what did this trailer do for you?
It renewed my faith in Star Wars again in terms of wanting good films, and I'm really hoping it doesn't let me down because The Last Jedi I was disappointed on many levels, and it had to do one with filmmaking. I felt like he just phoned it in for the filmmaking. I was very disappointed with the story, and as we're hearing, Rian Johnson continually tried to explain the film. I'm like, why'd you have to explain it? You should have just made a good film. And he didn't even talk to JJ about Force Awakens. He just went and said, well, okay, I have a couple points I know I got to cover, and we'll just forget the whole thing.
Yeah. Well, and to be fair to Rian Johnson, I mean, I do want to give him a fair shake, because even though I despise him, but yeah, it was the direction Kathleen Kennedy gave him.
Yes.
She said, "Do what you want," and that's what he did. So
Yeah, and that's definitely a studio breakdown, and that's where they screwed up. And I think that's hopefully JJ can fix it with this last one. But then going forward, maybe they can actually set up. You do 3 movies, give us the full story before you actually start filming.
Yeah, my gut is they've learned and they're gonna correct moving forward. I think they will, and so I'm comfortable with that. So we're running out of time here. We're at 10:55.
Oh my gosh, it's already 10:55.
Before we sign out, let's give a couple little 2 more ad reads here. Let's start off with you, Brett, and tell people a little bit about your art and where they can find you and the books you sell.
Yeah, well, I'm at brettpinson.com, and I do sell my comics through there. I'm not selling any of the artwork through there right now, but if you know my artwork, you can always email me. I'm happy to still sell it. I'm going to put a gallery back up for people to see some of the artwork I've done. As I continue doing more books, a lot of that more stuff's coming up. I'm in prep mode. While I do have Great Lakes Comic Con later this month, I'm in prep mode now for WonderCon, which I just got all my paperwork turned in finally for that they needed in terms of the tax information, things like that, so I can get online and get my badges ordered and be ready for that, because we're going to hang out with Scott and I are going to be there. So those of you out on the West Coast watching, you can come to WonderCon and meet the Odd Musings team, except for Dominic, because he didn't get in, which is too bad, because Dominic had fun out there. And then, yeah. And then, of course, Scott and I are working on our Oddland story, and we'll be promoting that here shortly. And we're going to try to run a Kickstarter while we're out in Wonderland, WonderCon, doing Wonderland work and all that fun stuff. But yeah, go to brettpinson.com for me. And then Scott's got a lot going on with his art and his real estate. So Scott, you talk about that.
Yeah, so, as far as real estate goes, spring is only 6 weeks away. It might not feel like it with all the snow we're getting. We're getting about 3 inches today, and I think about a foot coming up here later this week. So it doesn't feel like spring, but it really is only 6 weeks away. And with spring comes, most people start thinking about the real estate goals and what they want to do, whether they're buying or selling a house, or even if you're thinking about a career in real estate. Give me a call. I can help you out. My number, go to my website at www.scottzambelli.com, where you can get all my contact information, see what I do through there. I got MLS listings on there for books. I also have a cool app you can download right to your phone. So any of that can be done right through scottzambelli.com, or just go to my Facebook page, which is Realtor Scott Z. I believe you can find it if you just search my full name on Facebook also. Follow me on there. I do a lot of videos on there, and I post homes for sale and tips and all that fun stuff. So check it out. I want to be your partner in real estate, Scott Zambelli. With Keller Williams Realty Lakeside in Shelby Township, Michigan. Need to mention that. Advertising laws.
Awesome.
So there you have it. Dominic, anything you want to shout out?
Just this weekend at Astronomicon in Sterling Heights.
That's right. Astronomicon, that's in Sterling Heights at the, it's at 15 in Van Dyke at the Wyndham Gardens Hotel. So go there. I might try to pop in there with a Stormtrooper gear if I have time and troop around and spy on, see how it looks.
Troop around. All right.
Cool. And what else?
It's the first convention with my hockey comic book, Donnybrook.
Oh, the premiere of Donnybrook. So get out there.
Yeah, limited copies. I don't have the big order yet. I had a pre-rushed order.
All right, so get down there, buy them before they're sold out, because this being the initial run, it's going to be worth like thousands of dollars, I believe.
Yes, at least.
Or at least tens of dollars.
Yes.
Or ones of dollars. It'll be ones of dollars.
You add them up, it adds to a lot.
Yeah, so if you buy 1 million copies, they'll be worth $1 million.
Yeah.
All right, there you go. So do that. And he'll sign it.
That's right.
Yes.
He'll sign it, and for extra money, he'll put his DNA on it.
Oh, wow. All right. You got to make money somehow.
There you go. So thank you for everybody for tuning in. Brett,
Hey.
anything on your end?
No, we're good, man. I'm ready to go. So when you're ready to say it, tell Dominic to take us out.
Dominic, take us out.